Okay, this is 1 John chapter 3, verse 12. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother, and wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's righteous. All right, now if you've never seen that before, this is 1 John chapter 3, verse 12. And that tells you quite plainly that Cain was not of Adam. And then that will clue you in that there was people, other people on the earth, other than Adam and Eve, because if there wasn't, there would have been no wicked one for Eve to cohabitate with and result in Cain. All right, so that's exactly what the scripture's telling you. It's scriptural, and it's going to be supported further. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother, wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil, and his brother's righteous. Now I told you, there is the spiritual division, there's the material division. All right, right there. Let that sink in, and then we're going to go to some further support. This is going to be Jude. This is powerful, man. This could take hours to break down, but I want you to see right here what's going to support us is actually going to start right here. This is going to be the very beginning of Jude, verse 10. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally as brute beasts, and these things they corrupt themselves. Woe to them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Kor. Now, this goes on to say in connection with Israel, these are spots of your feast of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear of the Lord, of the real Lord, of the Father of all that is. That's what that's trying to express to you at this moment. It says, clouds they are without water, carried about by the winds. Now remember, Cain was being referred to as a vagabond. And then clouds without water, well, that means they don't have that water of Jesus Christ. Now we see trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Now, if anybody remembers what I said about the sons of God, and that they had already lived a physical life as men and women, and then had ascended to heaven, and then one of the things that happened was that they were to come back down. They were chosen to come back down and initiate civilization. Well, that's exactly what it means when it says twice dead. They've already lived a life as men and died once. Now they're coming to this world again, and they're going to die again. Now, if they didn't rebel, they would have never died this second physical life, and they would have ascended up, kind of like how you hear the story of what you think Elijah and Enoch had happened to them. But nonetheless, they rebelled, so they were sentenced to die twice. Now, all of this stuff is further encoded, but let's move a little further here. It says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, vagabonds. This is the connections to the crafts, to the UFOs. Now remember, we're talking about an eventual locust arrival that is going to mimic beings from the stars. And of course, these hollowed out cavernous places in the earth have these crafts within them too, my friends. It says, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever? Well, that's in reference to the inner earth. Okay, in which you would think of the cavernous inner earth being blackness of darkness forever, because they're not seeing the light of the sun, nor are we seeing them, that they are concealed in darkness.